Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Hollow One for the modern format for Magic the Gathering. So we're finally on to some actual modern decks that are not themed decks. They're just kind of decks that a lot of you guys wanted me to kind of cover on the channel. So if you want me to cover any other kind of modern decks in the channel, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'll look at that and see if I can get it on the channel as soon as possible. First up, we're going to kind of tackle, I would say, one of the best decks in modern. Not necessarily the best deck. I feel like the best deck is probably Humans. You know, Banned Spirits is also up there. There's also just a bunch of stuff. Modern is a very diverse format. One thing I will say though is Hollow One is probably one of the more aggressive decks I've ever seen in Modern, and it's kind of insane. The top deck in Modern right now, even though it's only got like 6% of the meta, it's still kind of up there, and that's the prized Amalgam Bloodghast kind of deck. But still, I still think Hollow One can still just kind of eat that deck's lunch sometimes, and it's kind of insane. So let's get through the deck tech and see how this deck is built. First up, of course, we've got Flameblade Adept. This is a semi-new card from Amonkhet. It's a 1-mana 1/2 with Menace. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. That's very important thanks to all of the kind of looting cards we have in the deck. Lots of stuff for us to be able to discard stuff or cycle stuff. Flameblade Adept is a fantastic turn 1 play. It's even good like in the mid to late game because it has Menace, so it can get around a single creature, which is pretty much everything in the format most of the time. So be very aware of that for Flameblade Adept. Just a fantastic play for you. Following that up, we have Bloodghast, just a very aggressive creature for us. And of course, there's a lot of fetch lands in the deck list, so we can kind of continually get Bloodghast back if it dies or trades or something like that. It's a 2 black mana 2/1. It can't block, but it has haste as long as your opponent is at 10 or less life. And of course, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Bloodghast from your graveyard to the battlefield. So very useful against a board wipe. Of course, not very good useful against a Terminus, and we'll kind of get into that through the matches. Next up, we've got Flamewake Phoenix here, a 3-mana 2/2. It's a flying that has haste. That's super good. It attacks each turn if able. That's not as good, but it's fine. But Ferocious is, whenever at the beginning of a combat in your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may pay 1 red mana. If you do, return Flamewake Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is super important because Hollow One can almost be a free creature for us sometimes, and we can usually discard a Flamewake Phoenix for the same reason, which means that getting a Flamewake Phoenix with a Hollow One on the battlefield on the same turn is very possible because it's so mana efficient. But also, it's just a fantastic value creature for you. It's a hasty attacker that has flying. Very good all around for that as well. And of course, the key card in the deck list is our Hollow One here. It is a 5-mana 4/4. It costs 2 colorless less though for each card you've cycled or discarded this turn, and you can cycle it for itself as well for 2. Now the thing here is we have cards like Street Wraith, we'll get into in just a second, Faithless Looting, Goblin Lore. All these kind of cards kind of turn on Hollow One into either a 1-mana spell or a free spell, and it's just a 4/4 on turn 1 or 2. That's really backbreaking, and that's 1/5 of your opponent's life total on turn 2. It's very hard to kind of bounce back from that unless they have cards like a Braid on turn 2 or a Path of Exile on turn 1 and stuff like that. But very, very good all around for the most part for Hollow One here. Kind of wish Hollow One was a 4-mana so Fatal Push could hit it as well, so it was a little bit more fair with other formats. But I mean, I guess it's fine. We'll get into the matches and I'll show how this works. Next, of course, we've got Street Wraith, a 5-mana 3/4 with Swamp Walk. None of that really matters to us. We're usually using this as a cycling because we can pay 2 life and cycle this card for free. You don't have to pay any mana for it. So this is another way to kind of turn on our entire deck, get into some more answers, get into some more Hollow Ones, that kind of stuff, make Hollow Ones cheaper, all that kind of fun stuff. And of course, feed stuff like Tassiger the Golden Fang here. This is actually new art from Ultimate Masters, so I wanted to throw this in here for us. A 6-mana 4/5 with Delve. Each card you exile from your graveyard while casting the spell costs or pays for 1 colorless. So this can be a 1-mana spell for you if you have 5 cards in the graveyard, so very important for that. You can pay 4 and put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then return a non-land card of an opponent's choice from your graveyard to your hand. This is kind of okay against a little control decks, more mid-rangey decks. More often than not though, it's just a 4/5 body that can trade against a Celestial Colonnade, and sometimes that's all you need. So fine for that. I like it a lot. And then of course we have more Delve here. We have Gurmag Angler, a 7 mana 5/5 with Delve. And again, the 7 mana, we're rarely going to pay that. We're probably just going to pay 1 mana every single time we cast this spell. It's that efficient. That's how efficient this deck is. It's kind of insane. Keep in mind, this can exile like, you know, cracked fetch lands and that kind of stuff. So by turn 1 or 2, you'll probably have 5 or 6 cards in your graveyard. So a turn 2 Angler or a turn 3 Angler is very likely in the deck list if you're not playing your hollow ones already. So just again, super efficient all around for our creature base. But that's all the creatures in total. We have 24. Moving on to our spells, we have 18 in total for these. We have a Burning Inquiry here, a 1 red mana sorcery. Each player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards at random. So kind of important for us in the early game here, if we want to get into a lot of hollow ones. Again, the random clause here is like the key thing here. And this is kind of the deck in general. It kind of like breathes or thrives on a random kindness with this card and Goblin Lore. The thing is though, is it's not really that random, honestly, and it kind of just turns into the situation where you're going to get a hollow one most likely, or get a Gurmag Angler turned on, or a Tassiger turned on with either a Burning Inquiry or a Goblin Lore. And it's kind of insane when you think about it like that, if you have a full grip of cards in your hand. Next, of course, we got Faithless Looting. This one is kind of the same thing, but it's less random. It's not random at all, and it has flashback. So 1 red mana sorcery, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, flashback for 3. Even though it's sorcery speed and a little slow, it still means that getting out a 1 mana hollow one is very likely with the Faithless Looting, or getting into stuff where you throw away like Bloodghast and Flamewake Phoenixes, then lay a land, brings back all the Bloodghasts. And if you have a hollow one or a Gurmag Angler, you could probably get into a Flamewake Phoenix that turn as well. So again, lots of synergy going on with this deck list. Moving on here, we have Fatal Push here. Fatal Push is really only here for Celestial Colonnades in the control matchup. It's also really good against like your one-off like Snapcaster Mages against those particular deck lists as well. It also hits stuff that are 4 mana cost as well and less, so that's very good against things like Prized Amalgam, Mantis Rider, Thalia, all the kind of stuff against humans, basically. Just a very good card, very efficient all around, and of course deals with man lands really, really well. Next, of course, we've got Lightning Bolt, just an efficient red spell for us, red mana, instant, deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and it's fantastic. It's basically always a 4 of in every hollow one deck I've ever seen, and it's very useful for us because, again, we're going to be very aggressive and get our opponent's life total down very quickly, and Lightning Bolts can usually finish an opponent off if we're kind of slowed down just a little bit. And lastly, we've got Goblin Lore here, a 2 mana sorcery, draw 4 cards, and discard 3 cards at random. So you have 1 extra card. Basically, this is replacing itself, and you're getting a, kind of 4 card shift or 3 card shift as well. So again, hollow one, if you discard 3 cards, hollow one is free. Goblin Lore is ridiculous, very powerful, but a card that I sometimes board out since it is 2 mana, so it's a little slow compared to the rest of the deck. Next, of course, let's hit our lands really quickly. We've got 3 Mountain, 2 Swamp, and 3 Blackcleave Cliffs, then 2 Blood Crypts, 4 Bloodstained Mire, 1 Marsh Flats, 1 Overgrown Tomb, 1 Scalding Tarn, 1 Wooded Foothills. Again, all of the fetch lands are in here for those Bloodghast kind of triggers, as well as thinning our deck list. So when we do go with Burning Inquiry or when we do go Goblin Lore, the more likelihood of us drawing into a hollow one or into a Bloodghast or a Flamewake Phoenix or a Tassiger or a Gurmag Angler, any of the creatures basically we have in our deck list, that's going to kind of thin our deck enough to the point where it's going to be super efficient when we do draw 3 cards, discard 3 cards. We'll probably have a hollow one, we'll probably have an Angler, and so on. Let's move on to our sideboard real quick. We've got, of course, Grim Lavamancer. This is good against the more mid-rangey and control matchups. 1 red mana creature. It's a 1/1. We can pay 1, tap it, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. A Grim Lavamancer deals 2 damage to target creature or player. This is very good if your opponent is kind of just stalling your board state a little bit. Spellbomb is here against another person that's playing Hollow One or another person that's playing like Dredge or something like that. A 1 mana artifact. You can sacrifice it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard, and when this card goes to the graveyard, you can pay 1 black mana and draw a card. Very useful, very efficient for us. Surgical Extraction is here against mostly the combo decks, mostly the control decks, anything where they have lots of copies of the single card. So basically, if they have a complete 4 of a particular card, you might want to bring in Surgical Extraction if it's like a key card in the deck, like Aether Vial for the human stack, something like that. Surgical Extraction, those super good cards, super efficient for us. We can just pay, 2 life instead of the black mana here at instant speed to get rid of something out of the graveyard. So very useful for that as well. Next, of course, we've got Thoughtseize here. This is here for the control matchups, the mid-range matchups. A 1 black mana sorcery. Target player reveals his or her hand, you choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card, you lose 2 life. The 2 life loss here is honestly not that important to us. We're really just kind of concerned at getting like a counterspell or a board wipe spell out of our opponent's hand if they're on control. So that's really what this card is here for, and it's doing good work as well for just 1 black mana. Next up for us, we've got Abrade here. This is for the Karkland Ironworks deck, the Affinity decks. Just a very good card overall. I kind of split it between Abrade and Ancient Grudge because they kind of do the same thing here, but Abrade has some damage potential. The 2-mana instant deals 3 damage to target creature or destroy target artifact, and Ancient Grudge here is a 2-mana instant destroy target artifact with flashback for 1 green, and that's probably okay for us, especially because we have cards like Overgrown Tomb in the deck list, so grabbing that with a fetch land and then using the flashback on Ancient Grudge here is not bad. And then the last 2 cards in the sideboard for us, of course, are Collective Brutality. This is very good against most of the board states where they have 1 creature, like a Snapcaster Mage or something like that, and we want to get something out of their hand. This is also really good against Burn, surprisingly, and within testing and stuff like that. So 2-mana sorcery with Escalate, which is discarding a card, which again, you can discard 2 cards with this card and make a hollow one just 1 mana, so kind of keep that in mind as well. Target opponent reveals his or her hand, you choose an instant or sorcery card from it. That player discards a card, so pretty good against most control decks, most mid-range decks. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, so kind of getting a blocker out of the way on our opponent's side of the field, so that's kind of useful too. And target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Again, very good against burn matchups, kind of slowing down their tempo and us gaining tempo. Just an all-around amazing card. If you want to build this on Magic Online or MTGO Traders, it's coming to about 269 tickets, which is not terrible for a modern deck. And if you want to build this in paper, it's coming to about 800 bucks. And of course, the reason for that is the Bloodghasts, the Goblin Lore, which is just continually spiking in price, Bloodstained Mire, Blood Crypt, and of course the fetch lands are kind of a couple bucks a piece. And of course, Scalding Tarn. We have 1 Scalding Tarn in the deck, and that's 75 bucks by itself, which is ridiculous. But if you want to build this on MTGO, it's much cheaper than you would otherwise. But let's get into some matches, guys, and see how this deck performs. All right, let's get into some matches here with Hollow One in the modern format. Starting with match 1, of course. And yeah, good luck, have fun from the opponent there. Nice. Always nice to see a cordial opponent. Having 2 lands, going to go for a Flameblade Adept and pass turn here. And then let's see what our opponent is on here. Ooh, Cliffs. Inquisition of Kozilek, so this might be a Jund deck. Anytime I see Inquisition, I think Jund. We'll see though. Overgrown Tomb into a Bloodghast here. Let's get in for 1 point of damage. Drop them down to 19 and pass. Our definite opening hand was not as aggressive as most Hollow One hands normally are, but that's alright. We still have 2 creatures on the battlefield and a mountain in our hand just in case Bloodghast is killed with a lightning bolt or something like that, so can definitely get that back as well. And of course, Gurmang Angler is just a few cards away. Very useful for us in this deck list. 6 cards in hand for our opponent here, going for a Collective Brutality, getting rid of Fatal Push and the Flameblade Adept from our hand. No problem. Scalding Tarn here for us, discarding that, going for a land, and let's see, we have 4. Yep, have enough for a Gurmag Angler on turn 3. There we go. Thanks, opponent. Appreciate that. Getting in for 2 here, down to 17. 4 cards in hand for the opponent now. Passing turn. Street Wraith is in our hand here. We could play this out if we hit 5 lands, but it might just be better to go with a Street Wraith cycle here. Down 2-10 for the opponent. They're going to go with a sack on the Bloodstained Mire. I'm holding on to Street Wraith just in case we get into a Hollow One or into something that would benefit from it, like the Flameblade Adept. 4 lands on the battlefield now. 3 cards in hand thanks to the Kendra coming out. Very nice. No attack though. Burning Inquiry is here for us. We could play this turn. Let's try that. See what we get into here. We're going to go with a Lightning Bolt on the Bloodghast there. Burning Inquiry and Tasigur. We definitely have enough here for Tasigur if we want to use that. Let's get in for 5 here. Opponent is going to block, no problem. Sack Wooded Foothills, go down to 8. Get a Blood Cove coming in tapped. Or Blood Crypt, not Blood Cove. Tasigur coming in here and passing turn. 2 cards in hand for the opponent. They hit a land. We have lethal on board. Inquisition. You have anything. You have a Goblin Rabblemaster. That's not bad. Kind of block the 1/1 there. Would have loved to have top decked a Lightning Bolt, but we can still get a Bloodghast out with haste, so that's not bad. Drop them down to 2, and do you have Damnation? Because that's what you would need to come back from this, and you don't. Let's go to Sideboard here and see how we can kind of better prepare ourselves against this deck list. Not entirely sure what our opponent is on here. Maybe just a Rakdos like burn deck, perhaps. Let's take out Fatal Push here. Maybe bring in some Surgical Extractions and just hit submit. We could bring in Thoughtseize over Surgical Extraction. It's probably a better move, honestly. I just really prefer Surgical Extraction against a deck list like this, where they kind of continually go with some hand hate turn over turn. But we'll see what we can do in game 2 here. But overall, I'm really happy with how Hollow One kind of performed in that deck list, even though we had kind of a not as aggro hand as most Hollow One hands normally go in the opening hand there. But we still kind of made it work, so that's pretty good for us. That's the benefit of if an opponent uses Inquisition against us and we have Gurmang Anglers in our hand. Decent opening hand here, gonna go with the keep. Blood Crypt from the opponent going into a Spell Bomb. All right, we have 2 Street Wraiths here. Just gonna cycle those. Kind of turn 1 Hollow One here if we want that, which is exactly what we're gonna do. And pass turn here. Ooh, a Braid from the opponent. Very well timed there. Let's go for a black mana and go for a Tasigur here. Need a black mana for that Bloodghast. Let's go Burning Inquiry instead. We only discarded 1 Bloodghast there. Faithless Looting. Ooh, I think this deck might actually be a Hollow One deck as well, perhaps? Not sure. I don't think so. I think it's just like a really good value Rakdos deck. Dreadbore on Tasigur. Good removal from the opponent there. Let's see. Let's go with a Goblin Lore here. Just can't seem to get those Bloodghasts out of our hand. Spellbomb getting rid of everything from the graveyard there. Let's go Surgical Extraction and grab that Kinra out of their graveyard there. Grab the rest of them out of their deck. And then just hit OK. Not bad. 2 cards in hand for the opponent. Inquisition grabbing, I would assume. Oh, Goblin Lore there. I thought they would maybe grab Lightning Bolt instead. Faithless Looting is here for us, which is not bad. Let's go with that. Just discard both of the Bloodghasts here and play out a Cliff. Get both of those back. And just pass turn. Lightning Bolt does not take them down to 10, so it doesn't give them haste. So kind of sad there. But we can definitely get them below 10 this next turn. Laying a land pass, they have 0 cards in hand, so we're wide open for some damage this turn. Let's go with the Lightning Bolt, get them down to 12. Go with the Faithless Looting first before we lay a land. The Lightning Bolt off the top there. Let's go with a hit for 4, drop them down to 8. And then hold our Bolt and land in hand, just in case they have any kind of board sweepers. Nothing off the top for the opponent. Let's go for a Flamewake Phoenix here. And get in for 6. Fatal Push for a Bloodghast there. Makes sense. Down to 4. I'm going to pass turn here. And just see if they have anything. Faithless Looting from the opponent cast with Flashback. So what we can do is just go Mountain or Bolt, but they just scoop it up, and that's it for match 1. Let's get into match 2 here and see what we can do. Very aggressive. Opening hand here has 2 lands. We're going to go with a keep there. Faithless Looting into more Faithless Lootings. Wow. Let's get rid of a Faithless Looting and a Burning Inquiry. I do feel kind of bad having so many Faithless Lootings already in the graveyard, but, you know, still benefits us here. Gonna go with a Street Wraith into, let's go land, go for a black mana. Let's try Faithless Looting here. Didn't see much there. Get rid of a land and a looting. Let's go for a Tasigur on turn 2. Pass turn. We can definitely get Flamewake Phoenix back the following turn. Steam Vents from the opponent here. Not sure what this is. It might be a control deck. We'll see. Adapt on the top for us. Let's just pay that 1 red mana and go for a Phoenix and get in for 6 on turn 3. Not bad. Bolts to the face. Could have grabbed a Blood Crypt instead of a Swamp there, so that might have been a mistake for us. Opt from the opponent. This is definitely a control deck. We see that Flooded Strand now. Let's get in for 6 if we can. Do we see Path of Exile? We do not. Opponent is down to 6 here. Opponent's scooping it up. Wow, that was really quick. Let's just bring in some Thoughtseize. We know we're up against a control deck, so taking out Goblin Lore, a little bit slower there. And taking a Street Wraith and hit Submit. Also taking out a Bloodghast because, again, they have Path to Exile, so Bloodghasts normally aren't as impactful to the board state. So we'll see what we can do. Opening hand is 2 lands with a Thoughtseize, Looting, Inquiry, Adept, and Bloodghast. This is a keep for me. Land into a Relic. Not great for us. Let's go with a Thoughtseize here and see what they have. Blood Moon and Surgical Extraction. Probably better to get rid of Surgical Extraction, as it is instant speed removal of all the same cards. So I like that a little bit better than getting rid of the Blood Moon. Getting rid of our Thoughtseize there. Lowering the chances for us to get into a Delve creature. Let's go for a Bloodstained Mire into a Mountain here and go for Thoughtseize once again. Going for Scalding Tarn. Do they have a counter to the Thoughtseize? Yes, they do. They have Remand. Interesting. Let's go Flameblade Adept here. We are tapped out for the opponent, so getting rid of that fetch land from us. Sulfur falls into a Blood Moon. The Blood Moon does hit, so we do have to draw into an actual black mana for that Bloodghast. The Faithless Looting is here for us, so we can get rid of a Bloodghast here and maybe the Cliffs or the Burning Inquiry. Might have been a mistake there to get rid of the Cliffs, since we have no way of getting back the Bloodghast this turn. Burning Inquiry, not terrible. And of course we have enough mana for a Tasigur. Or enough stuff in the graveyard for a Tasigur. Now this means we do lose our Bloodghast, but we do get it for 6 here, thanks to the Adept getting that +1. Gotta get rid of the Bloodghast there. Opponent playing Jace here, bouncing our Tasigur. Going Tormod's Crypt. Let's see. Let's go maybe Thoughtseize one more time and see what they have. They have a Steam Vents. We're down to 15 here. Maybe just go for a Flameblade Adept play and then hit Jace for 1. Might have been a good idea to play the Marsh Flats there, but most of the time we're not going to grab into enough lands to really facilitate a Tasigur cast without Delve. Thing in the eyes for the opponent here. We have Lightning Strikes. Let's just hit for 1 and 1 against the board state. Opponents always forget that Flameblade Adept has Menace for some reason. Like constantly, forever and ever. Yep, opponent figuring it out. There we go. You can't block. You can't block. Read the card. Reading the card explains the card. That's a very Tolarian community college kind of thing to say, but opponent passing here. Flaming Phoenix off the top here for us. Not bad. A Remand from the opponent, though. It does make the thing in the ice have 3 counters. Again, they can't block. Down to 10 for the opponent. See a land drop. All right, let's go for a Street Wraith Cycle. We could go with a Hollow One play here if we wanted to. I think we want to go with a Phoenix play. Let's go for a Cycle on Hollow One. This just makes the Adepts a bit stronger. Oh, and we get into a Hollow One, so we have a Hollow One play still either way. Opponent down to 4 here. Let's go with a Hollow One play and see if they have something. Relic here, okay. All right. Lightning Bolt for us, for the opponent hitting the Adept. Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt hit the Adept. Very nice line of play there for the opponent. Street Wraith for us. We also have the Phoenix here. And thanks to Blood Moon, we have the Lightning Bolt for Blood Moon. Or for the final point of damage. Getting in for 2 here, drop them down to 2. And let's see if we have a counter. We do not. There we go. Nice. Nice 2-0. All right, let's get into match 3 here. This is kind of a risky hand to keep, but I think we'll be fine. Tap land, go for a Rift Bolt. So we're definitely playing up against a burn deck. Gonna go Wooded Foothills, going for a Mountain, go Faithless Looting. You see a Hollow One there. Let's get rid of the Adept and the Bloodghast there. Rift Bolt suspended. hitting me. Okay. And we see a Eidolon. Okay. Let's go Scalding Tarn here. We do bring back Bloodghast. Sack that. Go for a black mana. Let's go for a Goblin Lore and see if we get lucky. So we do lose the Hollow in there. Let's cycle the Street Wraith. We do get a free Hollow in though. And we got lots of stuff out of that. So, not bad. Opponent's passing turn here. We're at 3 cards in hand. Let's go Scalding Tarn here. Sack that. Go with a Mountain. Go Faith. Well, let's hit them first. See if they want to trade with the Bloodghast. They do not. Okay. Let's go Angler instead of looting here. Or Bolts. We want to make sure we can build up our board state without losing too much life thanks to the Eidolon. Thanks to Hollow One and Anglers and Delves and stuff like that, we're actually working our way around the Eidolon's life loss clause. Let's get in for lots of damage. Down to 8 for the opponent there. Lightning Bolt for us, down to 7. Skullcrack down to 4. Lightning Bolt down to 1. Ooh. Alright, so we're just going to bolt them down to 5. If they top deck a burn spell, we're dead. Do you top deck a burn spell? You do not! Nice! Oh, scary. Scary how much burn decks can do so much damage. Bringing in Collective Brutality for that passive life gain. And that's basically it. Maybe take out Fatal Push, bring in some extractions, but I feel that Fatal Push is really good also in the mono red matchup, so if we see a lot of creatures, we'll probably bring Fatal Push back in. We do lose this game too. Overgrown Tomb there. Let's go maybe top. That's fine. Vexing Devils, no problem. We'll have that stick because we have bolts in hand. Eidolon from the opponent there. Let's go with a Marsh Flats into a black mana. Let's go Collect Brutality and do maybe 2 modes here. -2, -2, and we get rid of a card out of their hand. Still take 2 damage here. But we do get rid of the Eidolon, and we do get to pick a instant sorcery spell out of their hand. Ooh, they have nothing but creatures. That's kind of scary. Hit a land, play all 3 creatures. Yep, all hasty creatures. Let's see if we get any lands out of that. We do. Let's go Bloodstained Mire. Let's go Bolt onto the Mentor, and then Bolt onto a Goblin Guide. Eidolon off the top from the opponent. They are just hellbent on killing us this turn. Or this game. Hitting it for 2. Burning Inquiry for us. Got 2 Bloodghasts in our hand. That's not good. We probably should have played out the Phoenix. Of course, we can't block with the Phoenix, so can't block with the Bloodghasts either. Down to 4. Down to 3. That is it for us. GG for the opponent. Definitely want to bring in maybe the Fatal Pushes here against that particular matchup. Take out a Phoenix and a Bloodghast, yeah. Try that. At first, yes. 2 land hand, I'll take it. Adept coming in here. 8 cards in hand for the opponent, 1 mana, going for a Goblin Guide. And hitting us, getting a land for us, no problem. Take that 2 damage. That's a fair trade to me. We could go Brutality here. Get rid of Goblin Lore and Bloodstained Mire. Opponent scooping it up. Oh, so sad. That's funny. All right, match 4 here. Sometimes it's opponents scoop up a little prematurely. I'm not sure why the opponent scooped up so immediately there, but it's okay. Looks like a Tron deck. Let's go with a Street Wraith cycle. Faithless Looting into a, let's see, Hollow One on turn 2. Nice. And you deal with that. Second Tron land, grabbing your 3rd Tron land. All right. Let's get 2 of the Bloodghast back. Opponent scooping it up. Nice. Oh, opponent salt scooping. Oh, man. That's so much fun. Let's go match 5 here. You gotta respect the Hollow One, man. That's crazy. Let's see. Opening hand, we have a mountain. We have the perfect hand if we get into a hollow one here. Let's go mountain into a Faithless Looting. We got into a hollow one. Oh no. Okay, Street Wraith, hollow one, turn one for free. That's fine with me. All right. Perfect. Oh man. And the opponent scoops. Woo! Those were some fast matches, guys. Seriously, Hollow One is a very aggressive deck, and the only deck that I kind of like kept losing to in testing was like Control, basically, because they would have a turn 1 Path of Exile, and if they don't have a turn 1 Path of Exile, then it's just like, you just win. I don't really know how else to put it. It's kind of insane how fast this deck is versus most decks in the format. Now, of course, Dredge is a little bit faster as far as being able to widen the board state. Like, I understand that. And then, of course, Humans is very aggressive as well in the modern format. But Hollow One is just incredibly efficient and can just kind of, you know, out of nowhere demolish an opponent without really blinking. And that's kind of amazing. But that's going to do it for this deck tech, guys. Like to, if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below on a deck I should cover in Modern. If not, I'll probably just, you know, create a deck to see how I can do in the Modern formats. But I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this. And make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGO Traders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.